Hey everybody, I'm Sam Haymart and you're watching Test Driven TV. Today we are test driving the 2024 Hyundai Elantra, and this is a limited hybrid. For 2024, they redesigned the car just slightly, gave it a refresh. And so while you look down the side and see that the hard edge crease and the sculpting is pretty much the same with its origami-like look, up front is a new shark nose design, and so it's a little bit lower, a little bit sleeker, it's wider looking. The LED headlamps on this redesigned, and they're a little bit slimmer, a little bit more sleek. Coming around the corner, this has 17-inch alloy wheels, which is an upgrade that you get when you choose the Limited. That's a good time to sort of bring up the fact that this does come in two models. The Limited, which this one is priced out at just under $30,000. And they pretty much come one way, give or take, for a few dealer type options. The base model is the blue. The blue is about $3,000 less. And so I mention that because these wheels and tires are one of the big visual upgrades you'll see on the outside of the car when you step up to the Limited like we have here. Now under the hood is a 1.6 liter Atkinson cycle direct injected 4-cylinder engine, and it's mated to a 6-speed dual clutch direct shift automatic transmission. Between the two is an electric motor, and so all combined with those two power sources, you get 139 horsepower, and the MPG rating on this combined is 50 MPG. Pretty good. Getting back to the wheels, when you get the base model, it's actually rated quite a bit higher in the MPG. And that's because this does have the larger tires and wheels, which are heavier. They have more rolling resistance. If you want higher MPG, the base model is probably the way to go. Coming around to the back, you can really see how all of these lines and these folds really come together in a, what some people might call a pretty severe looking rear spoiler design. I call it daring. And with the way the taillights all fold into that, there's just a lot going on there detail wise that you could just tell they really thought about that. And so I appreciate that with car design. You don't always see that. So there we have it for our exterior walk around. Let's have a look inside. Behind the wheel, you'll find that there's just as much ovation and design as there is on the exterior. A lot of detail, a lot of futuristic, high-tech artism. Here in this particular model, we have a number of interesting materials, I think, on the door panels, and in some of the other areas on the backs of these seats is sort of a gray denim-looking material. The seats themselves are a vinyl. They look like leather. They feel almost like leather, but they're vinyl. I found these seats to be pretty comfortable this week, and in spite of the fact that they're made of vinyl, they don't feel too sticky or sweaty even in the heat, and I think a lot of that goes to the fact that they do have the ventilation. As you look at the dash, one of the things that's most notable is the dual screen cockpit layout with a 10.25-inch screen ahead of the driver. Over to the right, the infotainment system, also a 10.25-inch screen. Below that, hard controls for the system, which I love. And then below that, the HVAC controls. Down in the center console, there's a nice little cubby down here for your phone, and this does have a wireless charger on this one, a conventional shifter, which isn't always found in a lot of the hybrid sedans these days. Now, storage here in the center console, about the size of a square tissue box, in depth as well as the overall size. I really do like the design of this interior. It's pleasing to look at. The cockpit, the layout, the switchgear, everything is really designed in a way to make it easy to be behind the wheel for a long time. There are hard plastics as you run your hand around. It's, meant to be built to a price to some level, but some of the competitors have gotten much better in the way of the look and feel, in addition to the overall design and usability. So this interior, it gets 4 out of 5 stars. The infotainment system here is one of my favorite in the business. Hyundai and Kia both have put together a system that is a touchscreen. It works very well. It's easy to navigate. It's got good graphics and a lot of feature content for the money. This has Bluetooth connectivity, of course. It has Sirius XM radio. It has HD radio. It has a nice Bose sound system on this trim grade. It also has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but it's not wireless here. You still have to plug it in. There's a good backup camera. It is a single view, but it is a high enough resolution that it does give you a good level of detail. Another cool feature is the sounds of nature. You can go into the media and turn off the radio, turn off the commercials, turn off everything, and just listen to some nice soundscapes. I love this in Hyundai vehicles. Almost all of them have this now. I like it. It's well done. This system gets 4.5 out of 5 stars. All right, my friends, off to our little test drive here so we can talk about what the driving experience is all about. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this has a 4-cylinder engine, electric motor, a 6-speed dual clutch transmission, and really the most notable thing to talk about around that is the fact that this does not have a continuously variable transmission like most other hybrids do. And so what that means for you as the driver is this feels like a more traditional driving experience. You have a transmission which is actively shifting gears like non-hybrid cars, and so it quite honestly doesn't feel that much different from a non-hybrid car, aside from the fact that the gasoline engine does turn itself on and off occasionally, and you do operate on electric only power from time to time. And the way the system has been refined and the way it has evolved over the years, it's a well-proven system. Hyundai's been building essentially this same powertrain for some time now. The stopping and starting of the gasoline engine and its engagement and its interaction with everything else is pretty smooth and works quite well. And if you're a driving enthusiast, one of the big bonuses with this is the fact that when you really mash the pedal and ask for power, even though this doesn't have the most power in class, it delivers it pretty strongly. And so you have some driving verve to go around, you know, and so when you step on the gas, it works pretty well. And it sounds good too. It's just a nice seamless system. Now in my week with it, did I achieve the 50 mpg that's on the window sticker? No. And that's because my mix tended to be a little bit more city driving than the highway. It wasn't a 50-50 mix like the EPA numbers tend to depend on. And this is a car that actually does better on the highway for its hybrid MPG than does it in the city. And sometimes it's the other way around. So because I was driving in the city and I had the air conditioning on every day this week, it's still Phoenix, even though we're getting close to October, it's still air conditioning weather most of the time. So this powertrain, I'm very impressed with. I always have been. It gets 5 out of 5 stars. Now to the ride, drive, and handling experience. This is a car that has a McPherson strut front suspension. It has a multi-link rear suspension, which is an upgrade, as some of the models on the Hyundai Elantra actually have the old-fashioned twist beam rear axle. So when you get the hybrid, whether you get the blue or the limited, you get sort of the automatic upgrade to the more sophisticated rear suspension. And this car being paired with the 17-inch wheels and the low-profile tires gives me a little bit more of a firmer ride, a little bit more road detail, like over these little strips with the pavers. I feel there's a lot more feel, there's a lot more texture in how this feels. If you get the blue model with the higher sidewall tires, you're going to find a bit more of a softer, quieter driving experience. And so if you like a more sporting, sharp experience, this is definitely the model for you. If you like a softer, quieter one, the base model is probably going to be your best choice when it comes to the ride, drive, and handling. Overall, this is a chassis that has some pretty tight reflexes, and I've always liked that about the Hyundai Elantra. It feels light. The curb weight is just slightly less than 3,000 pounds. And with the sharper suspension tuning and the tire and wheel combination this one has on it, it does have a relatively engaging handling experience. What I will tell you though is that it's starting to feel a little bit old, and by that I mean the chassis structure itself isn't quite as tight as, say, the Honda Civic, which is a newer design. And to that, I have noticed a few creaks and squeaks in the overall driving experience. And if you really hit some harsh bumps and road irregularities with this, you will notice it a little bit more than in some of the competitors. This chassis gets 4 out of 5 stars. All right, my friends, we've had a good look at it inside and out. We've taken it for a drive and talked about some of the high points and the headlines with this car, at least in my perspective and my experience. And I will tell you, I have test driven quite a few of these cars over the years. This generation of the Elantra, 2 or 3 of them, and then the previous generation. And generally speaking, they've all rated pretty high in our reviews because they not only offer a good level of quality, but they offer a lot of features for the money. And in the case of the hybrid, high MPG. And those are all great things. Now, the catch this year is that there's more competition on the market. We've always had the Toyota Corolla hybrid in the last couple of years, but now the Honda Civic hybrid is on the scene, offering considerably more horsepower. So if performance is a hot button for you, the Honda Civic honestly has this beat in terms of how much power it offers. And it's about the same when it comes to MPG, and it does cost a little bit more. That's worth noting because a lot of people see the Honda Civic as maybe perhaps a bit more of a premium product. Hyundai has always gamed on offering a good price and offering a lot of features for that money, and they do. The one thing this car offers that the other two competitors really don't is the longest warranty coverage in the business. 10 years, 100,000 miles on the powertrain, on the battery, on the hybrid system, and then 5 years, 60,000 miles bumper to bumper. That's everything else. And so the other two competitors, they don't even offer 560 on everything. And so it's one of the best warranties in the business, period. And so if that's your hot button, this is definitely an easy choice to make. But there's not always just warranty coverage on your list. A lot of people want driving style, they want features, styling of the car. This has got some pretty dedicated styling elements going on, and it's not going to be something that everybody warms up to. I appreciate it, but some people call it severe. Anyway, so when I look at all of the things we talk about, when I sort of figure out a value score, the one thing keeping this from getting a higher score this go around is the fact that it's not the newest design on the market. Honda Civic's out there, and Corolla offers a few things this doesn't. And so I put value at 4 out of 5 stars. When you put that in with everything we've already talked about, we're at 4.4 stars for the total review score. Still quite very good, and definitely worth a look if you're out there looking for a compact sedan that's hybrid. Even the non-hybrid models are really interesting to look at. So there you go. If you like what we do, you can see our latest video right there. If you really like what we do, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and then you'll stay informed of everything we do.